Hey, good morning, and it's Reverend Darrell Wilson, and this is your cup of peace. We will be reading out the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 6, verses 14 and 15. Verse 14 says, "For if you forgive men their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you do not forgive men their trespasses, neither will your Father forgive your trespasses." This morning, I would like to talk to you on the subject of the peace of forgiveness. One of the differences in Matthew's gospel compared to the gospel of Luke is that right after the Lord's Prayer in Matthew's gospel, Jesus teaches the disciples about forgiveness compared to the gospel of Luke, where he teaches them about being a friend. In Matthew's gospel, Jesus teaches us that forgiveness is required for those who have been forgiven, and we all have been forgiven. We are not given the luxury of holding on to bitterness towards other people. So let's go to Matthew chapter 18, starting verse 21, and let's read about the parable of the unforgiving servant. So we read that Peter asks, "Lord, how often shall my brother sin against me and I forgive him? Up to 7 times?" Jesus said to him, "I do not say to you up to 7 times, but up to 70 times 7." Said during this time, 3 was the acceptable limit taught by many Jewish rabbis. So when Jesus said up to 70 times 7, this was almost as you were forgiving someone for any and everything that they did against you. And that was something that Peter had not heard before. So Jesus going on to tell Peter a parable about a king wanting to settle a debt with his servants. He finds one of the servants that owed him quite a bit of money, but the servant was not able to pay him. So let's read the story about this, and it starts in verse 25 of Matthew 18, and starting in verse 25, and it says, "But as he was not able to pay, his master commanded that he be sold with his wife and children and all that they had, and that the payment be made. The servant therefore fell down before him, saying, 'Master, have patience with me. I will pay you all.' Then the master of the servant was moved with compassion. He released him and forgave him of his debt." What's amazing to me is that right after the king forgave this servant of his debt, right after that, remember, the king was going to sell him, sell his wife, sell his kids, and sell all their possessions, and going to throw him in jail. Going to do all this. But right after this, right after the servant was forgiven, in verse 28, it says this: "But that servant went out and found one of his fellow servants who owed him 100 denarii, and he laid hands on him and took him by the throat, saying, 'Pay me what you owe me.'" How quick he forgot about what he was just forgiven of. Pretty much the same thing that he is going after this guy this guy after for. So in Matthew 18, verse 29, let's read this. "So his fellow servants fell down at his feet and begged him, saying, 'Have patience with me, and I will pay you all.' And he would not, but went and threw him into prison till he should pay the debt. So when his fellow servants saw what he had done, they were very grieved, and came and told their master all that he had done. Then his master, after he had called him, said to him, 'You wicked servant, I forgave you all that debt because you begged me. Should you not also have compassion on your fellow servant, just as I have pity on you?' And his master was angry and delivered him to the torturers until he should pay all that was due him." Verse 35 says, "So my heavenly Father also will do to you if each of you from his heart does not forgive his brother his trespasses." He says, "So my heavenly Father also will do to you if each of you from his heart does not forgive his brother his trespasses." What Matthew 6, chapter 6 and verse 15, and what Matthew chapter 18, 35 is teaching us that if we do not forgive others, God is not going to forgive us. Forgiveness comes from the heart because it is more than just words that are spoken. Forgiveness comes from the heart. God has forgiven us of so much, and he is asking us to do the same to others. See, forgiveness is unconditional. Just like the love of Christ that he has for us is unconditional, forgiveness is unconditional. There is peace in forgiving, and this is something that we all need to learn. The peace of forgiveness. And this is your cup of peace. Have a blessed day.